What's up, YouTube? It's Tafujongo. Today we are going to Chattanooga. You said, where are we going?
Chattanooga.
Why?
To go on the train.
Wow, we're going to watch the Christmas light, right?
Yeah.
Even after Christmas.
Yeah. But
We're gonna have fun on another family fun thing. I will show you guys when we get there. I cannot wait till night time. He tired to cross his as fast train.
No, he tried.
Ah, he tried also? Sorry, tonight, yeah. Slow. There you are. That's popular.
Actually, we're not the only one.
No, we're not, princess.
I said we're not the only one.
I know we're not the only
They're thinking the empty they try over there.
Mama, I'm going to get tickets.
Let's go.
I'm going to get tickets.
Yeah. Ta-da! We are here. Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum. We're going to ride train. Chick train.
Be quiet.
And watch Christmas light. Oh my goodness. I like riding train.
Be quiet.
Be quiet.
You don't even like roller coasters.
There is Tennessee Railroad.
Mama!
Yeah, I know. 이제 손 닦으세요. 응, 비수 손 닦으면 이거 갖고 있어. 엄마 손 닦으게.
I want to buy nachos. Let's go buy nachos.
오, 나죠.
Yeah.
Nachos.
Gotta eat some too.
Yes, you can, of course.
Mm.
You ready? What are you doing?
김이 주세요. Go. 나초 over there?
Yeah, because I smell natural
음.
like a bowl smells.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are no restrooms on board. And that is because we have those available here in our East Chattanooga station, a little over 3 miles Railroad will be traveling along the Metro East Chattanooga, so if you need to go ahead and take advantage of the restrooms here in the first 3 floors, please do so at this time. Again, 2 locations to board between the last 2 coaches and further
Boarding
down the
time is
platform.
5 o'clock
We're now
15.
boarding for the
We are
5:30
going
Lights
through.
train. What?
Yeah, but here, you are front. Asa, come here, baby. Front. Go front. Hi, how are you? Thank you, sir. Let's go. Wow.
Side to side, real quick.
Okay. Oh. Oh, smells so good.
Lisa, are you excited?
I don't get it. Where the 한국 different? Oh.
It's a wee.
Building in 1947. Central Georgia.
Repeat a few instructions. Please make sure you maintain your face mask on at all times while on board the train. That allows us to continue operating trains like this one. Again, this is our 60th year. We're very privileged to be able to offer this ride and our other rides, and to go a little step further, your history. All of the equipment we're using tonight was used for various railroads. All of your coaches this evening were built in the late 40s. If you're riding in 390, that blue and gray baggage combine, that was the original baggage combine car built in 1947 by the American Car and Foundry Central Georgia Railway's Nancy Hanks II Specialty Train. Your car would travel right behind that Streamliner diesel, leaving Savannah in the early morning hours, traveling several hours to Atlanta, Georgia.
Wow.
Several hours of layover there in Atlanta, and then the return to Savannah in the evening.
Ah.
The other 2 cars, 1488, 1486,
We go to
with larger
No, cannot be the
capacity
35,
as far as passengers, were not always standard
find it.
coaches. They were sleepers. In fact, they accommodate sleeping quarters, a 10-6
Sleeping
section as they were known.
That's
10
for Daddy.
small room
I'm
houses.
tired.
somewhat larger 6 bedrooms to accommodate supposedly 2 people. It's very tight quarters, even still. Train around why? It's kind of like a 3-point turn for
Oh,
your
we're going.
automobile. I know
Lisa, can you
we
feel
don't
it?
really use 3-point turns anymore that much. We use a lot of U-turns when we're driving. But as we sit here right now waiting departure and we begin leaving, when I say look right for the purposes of the beginning of our trip, that's the Grand Junction station side. But up and behind the station there on the hill, that mainline railroad was completed in the early 1950s. When it was in fact completed, the 3.5 mile stretch we're using this evening would be abandoned. Now that would work out well for us later, because Southern Railway, once the museum was established, would donate this property. Such as the 5288, originally a Canadian national engine that was used as a true passenger locomotive known as the Pacific. Also, Louisville, Nashville. You see that peeking through those 2 cars, at the 1930s dining car built for the Louisville Nashville Railroad. And when we get to the other side of our walkway here, look over and you'll see a couple of cars. One of those, 1947, the Richmond, Fredericksburg, Potomac, number 857. You'll see 829, built in the late 40s for the
That was
Southern
what he
Railway
said,
by the
yeah.
Buck Company. Pretty synonymous with those stainless type cars. 906, originally 528. Built for the Central Georgia Railway in 1924, car 1000, a 1925 heavyweight Pullman built for the Southern Railway.
Remember, you like a subway?
Loaded 5,000, painted up in that tuxedo
she likes
painting,
the
very
subway.
popular with the Southern
Hamburg
Railway.
subway.
And now, that same direction, look down what it appears to be a gravel driveway just in front of our Christmas village over here. That was the original location, or the original railroad, the East Tennessee, Virginia, and Georgia Railroad.
Look at the river.
And when we get to the other side, those of you on your right,
Looks like an
you'll see some more
abandoned
railroad
one.
ties laid out, indicating and marking the original East
Yeah,
Tennessee,
looks like
Virginia,
it, right?
Georgia Railroad from the
Nobody used it.
1850s as well. So those allow you every time you see those railroad ties, and I point those out, you can understand the changes that were made later by the Southern Railway based upon the line we're using today. When we get a little closer to our East Chattanooga Depot location, we'll talk to you, give you some instructions there. When we arrive at East Chattanooga, we'll allow everyone to get off. The depot was open there with restrooms. We have snacks and drinks, refreshments. We have a separate restroom facility, we'll point out. But almost immediately, as soon as we arrive, just as soon as we get all of the passengers down tonight on our lights train to the turntable, we will turn this locomotive around after uncoupling it from our train. Around. Now the city of Chattanooga removed that tunnel once this line was abandoned by the Southern Railway, and a bridge was built in the early 70s to span that gap.
Wow.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are about to experience, again, as I mentioned earlier, the main reason that the railroad wanted to avoid using this line, at least the 3-mile stretch we're using
Down
this
here, Chad, they
evening,
don't want to see
due to
your
the
head.
fact the single portal tunnel just ahead, the exterior lights in your cars will illuminate the walls of the tunnel. And you'll see there are a few areas as we begin to pass through. There's only about 1.5 feet of clearance between your train and the tunnel walls. This tunnel was mostly built by hand. Dynamite was not available, was not invented until 1867. The completion year for this structure was 1858.
Now,
Black powder was your only alternative explosive material-wise. 1858, the year was completed, and a few years later, during the American Civil War, every soldier in the Union and Confederate Army rank and file knew you had to keep your black powder dry. You can see the dampness on the tunnel walls and how difficult that would be. Fighting right above the tunnels and on the left and right during the fight for Chattanooga and the Battle of Missionary Ridge on the 25th of November, 1863 occurred here.
Inside the tunnel. Too dark. We are inside the tunnel. Come on, look at that. Oh, so we are done also.
I get your jacket.
네. So shorter than 45. Oh my goodness, so pretty. Riding. Yeah, he's wearing.
Watch that, please. Watch that. Turntables to your left.
So we done?
we're going to go ahead and bring the engine on while I give you a little bit more about this particular turntable installed in Macon. And it was actually installed originally with the Central Georgia Railway's Macon locomotive shops. It was later moved to smaller operations in Cedartown, Georgia, just south of Rome. So the turntable again weighs 80 tons. That's about 100 tons of locomotive. 180, let's think about it. 13 tons, that's the average weight of a school bus. Watch for the end of the table to drop down just slightly with the rail. I got my foot on right here, there we go. Now we're ready to turn. You see, this whole operation is a balancing act, literally. You have to get the weight of whatever locomotive, whatever weight that is with that locomotive balanced on the turntable. And the center of this table is about 6 feet in diameter, a bearing. So if the locomotive engineer was to take the locomotive too far in the direction and the end of the table as he brought it on, the wheel would not meet the rail on the other side. You see, it acts upon the same principle, just as we have two rails. You have a singular encircling rail here. You go back too far this way, you're not going to have the wheel meet the rail on that side. This was a SW1200 switching engine. It was built, that SW signifies its purpose. It's built as a switcher for the Milwaukee Road in 1954. Now in addition, we have our lanterns this evening. Since it's the lights train, we thought it might be a great idea to have our lanterns, because you see, this evening we get to use radios. They didn't have that advantage. So we have a little easier than the crew of throughout historical railroad, and as far as their communication is concerned, because they had a series of hand signals during the day, but at night they had lanterns. Now, one of the worst things you could possibly see me do, and I'm not going to do it, is swing in a perfect circle in a backward direction with my lantern. Large circles made, meaning runaway train, and you never wanted to see a crewman use that signal. All right, we've got the turntable lined up for track 2. You see, your coaches are there, currently parked on track 1. So the engineer is going to bring the locomotive off the table. He's going to pass right by your coaches there on track 1, and he will take it all the other end of the yard, past the switch, bring it down to a stop, switch back to track 1 and recouple. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as he turns those ditch lights on there, you can see the pathway, the walkway. On the other side of that walkway are restrooms, but also our steam locomotive 4501 is located over there in the gravel area. You're certainly welcome to go over there and look at that locomotive and take some pictures, and I can take some pictures of you. Again, that's the very first steam locomotive of that type to be built for the Southern Railway, and it's the only one left. There were more than 282 built. It's the only one that survived. We utilize that locomotive on other excursions, our 9.5-hour trips, and sometimes we take our 1904 and our 4501 built in 1911. So if you'd like to join us over there, please use that walkway. Don't step over the rails on any other location. I want you to remain safe. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now approaching our Grand Junction station. We thank you for riding with us this evening.
Awesome.
We hope you have a wonderful rest of your week and a
Happy New Year. Be safe going home this evening. Come back and see us.
Let's go. Ready to pick it.
Bye bye tennis Valley Railroad Museum.
We haven't checked.
The museum, right?
Turn right onto Cromwell Road.
Thank you for watching.
Please subscribe me. Don't forget the thumbs up. Bye bye.
Bye.